Welcome to my channel Immigrate Abroad. I am Sunil Raj and today I'll be talking about the Ontario Immigrant Nominee Program. Ontario has several provincial nominee programs and I'll be talking about the most sought after Ontario Express Entry Human Capital Priority Stream. I'll provide an overview of the Ontario Immigrant Nominee Program, its requirements, process and fees, so stay tuned. All links mentioned in this video will be in the description below for your reference. Before I begin, here are some of Ontario's attractions. So what is the OINP Express Entry Stream? Ontario's provincial nominee program is called the Ontario Immigrant Nominee Program, or the OINP. The OINP recognizes and nominates people who have the skills and experience the Ontario economy needs from the Express Entry pool for permanent residents, and the Government of Canada makes the final decision to approve applications for permanent residents. The OINP accepts applications under Human Capital category, Employer Job Offer category, and Business category. To qualify, you must have a valid Express Entry profile with the required education, skilled work experience, language ability, and other characteristics to receive a notification of interest from Ontario before you can apply to be nominated by the Ontario government for permanent residence. So what are the requirements? To be considered for Ontario nomination, you must have scored at least 67 points on the 6 selection factors for creating an Express Entry profile. I have made a video on how to check if you qualify for Express Entry. I will leave the link to the related videos in the description below. You must have an active Express Entry profile in the Federal Express Entry pool. You must meet the criteria of at least one of the federal immigration programs, that is either Canadian Experience Class or Federal Skilled Worker Program. You should have expressed interest to live and work in Ontario or all Canadian provinces on your Express Entry profile. You should have at least 1 year of continuous full-time or equivalent work experience in skill type 0, A or B in the last 5 years outside Canada for federal skilled worker candidates, and for CEC candidates must have gained 1 year of continuous full-time work experience in Canada in the last 3 years. You must demonstrate your language ability in either English or French on an approved language test with a minimum Canadian language benchmark 7. You must have completed a post-secondary education that is assessed against Canadian standards with an education credential assessment. I have made a video on how to apply for ECA. I'll leave the link to the video in the description below. You must have enough money to support yourself and your dependent family members when you settle in Canada. If you are applying from within Canada, you must have legal status, that is a visitor visa, a study permit, or a work permit at the time you apply, and you should maintain that status until the time of nomination. So moving on to the OINP process. After you receive a notification of interest, you must submit an online application to the OINP if you qualify under the Ontario Express Entry stream for which your notification of interest was issued. Receiving a notification of interest, that does not mean that you qualify for OINP streams. From the date you receive a notification of interest letter from OINP, you have 45 days to apply to the Ontario Express Entry Human Capital stream. You have to apply through the OINP e-filing portal online. It can take up to 3 hours to complete the application, and you do not have to complete the application in one session. You can save your work and return to it later. You must pay the fees to submit your application. You also need to make sure you have all the supporting documents in English or French scanned and ready to upload when you apply. If you do not, your application will be returned as incomplete and your application fee will be refunded. You need to scan and upload copies of the following mandatory documents with your application. A notification of interest letter from Ontario, any identity document like your passport, status documents in Canada if you're applying within Canada like a study permit or a work permit or a visitor visa, education documents like a Canadian degree certificate or education credential assessment document, language test results, documents to support your employment in Ontario if applicable, and your work history like a work reference letter, documents to demonstrate that you meet the settlement funds requirements like a proof of funds letter, documents if you or your spouse or common law partner has relatives in Canada, your latest resume, and depending on your application, other supporting documents as applicable. So to apply for OINP, the application fees is 1,500 Canadian dollars and covers the cost of processing your application. Only Visa, MasterCard, Visa debit and MasterCard debit are accepted. OINP will only refund the fee if your application is incomplete or you withdraw your application before OINP starts processing it. The fee will not be refunded if your application is unsuccessful. After you submit your application through the OINP portal, you will get an email acknowledgement from an OINP officer. You can check the status of your application through your account in the OINP e-filing portal. If your application is successful, you will receive a nomination approval letter and an OINP certificate of nomination by email. OINP will update the details of your nomination into the express entry system. You will then receive a notification of your nomination through your IRCC express entry account. You will have 30 days to accept or refuse the nomination in the express entry system. If you accept, you will receive an additional 600 points for being nominated, which means you will receive an ITA for permanent residence from IRCC in the next rounds of invitation, which are usually conducted every 2 weeks. You then have 60 calendar days to submit your application to IRCC for permanent residence. You will need to include your nomination approval letter and notification certificate while submitting documents to IRCC. A nomination does not guarantee approval of your application for permanent residence with IRCC. If your application is unsuccessful, an OINP officer will let you know by email. If you think an OINP officer made an error in their decision that led to your application being refused, you may ask for an internal review. So that's all the process for the OINP. I hope this video was helpful. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button, share this video and comment below. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon to receive notifications on upcoming videos. Thanks for watching.